Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 bot AI cast, and today we've got an electrifying matchup. In the red corner we have Ketroc, the Terran powerhouse known for its late game mech style and strategic defensive play, and in the blue corner we have Eris, the Zerg queen, and a notorious mech killer that has reigned supreme on the SC2AI.net ladder for years. This is going to be a thrilling battle as Ketroc tries to establish a stronghold while Aeris looks to exploit those weaknesses. Buckle up, folks, because we're in for a wild ride. Let's see how this unfolds. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could hit 1 like on this video for the day of the month, it is. That would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots, perhaps more than usual, and as always, subscribe if you'd like to see more bots videos. I also have a second channel that I recently started. On it, I cast Starcraft 2 Evolution, the Brood War vs. SC2 mod. I also cast Pro 1v1 and 2v2 matches. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers on that channel, so head on over and subscribe if you haven't. Link is in the description down below. Both of these bots are mining away, pulling in more resources than any inferior human scum can do. This is due to the speed mining bonus bots get by exploiting worker movement mechanics. When thinking about the speed mining, it really is incredible. StarCraft 2 is a 15-year-old game at this point, but the engine holds up fine, doing tens of thousands of APM. That's certainly something SC2 wasn't designed for, but it is a key point of how these bots function, as a lot of the units are issued commands incredibly frequently to keep them updated to their surroundings. And here we go. We're just 2 minutes into the match and the bots are off to a classic start. Ketroc is laying the groundwork with its command center, barracks, and a refinery, focusing on that solid Terran foundation. Meanwhile, Aeris is already ahead in the hatchery department, establishing 2 hatcheries and a spawning pool to ramp up its economy. Both players are still in the early stages, building their forces and expanding their economies. Ketroc has a slight edge in SCVs, which is great for harvesting those minerals, but Eris is leveraging its Zerg mechanics with more production facilities. This could mean that as we progress, Eris will start flooding the field with units faster than Ketroc can manage. What an exciting opening, folks. The stage is set for some epic engagements, and both bots are just warming up. How will they proceed? Let's keep our eyes peeled for those first units to make their appearance. Wow, things are heating up as we hit the 3-minute mark. Ketroc is finally mobilizing some forces with its first 2 Marines hitting the battlefield. It's clear that the Terran player is gearing up for some early pressure. The combination of SCVs and mules means a strong economic foundation to back these Marines. Meanwhile, Aeris is playing it cool, sticking to drones for now. With 3 hatcheries and an extractor in place, Aeris is banking on a robust economy to flood the battlefield with Zerg units later on. However, it's worth noting that while Ketroc is getting some military presence, Aeris has yet to bring out any units. This sets the stage for a classic Terran timing push strategy. Will Ketroc capitalize on this early window, or will Aeris ramp up and defend effectively with an overwhelming force? The tension is palpable. Let's see how these bots develop their strategies in the coming minutes. We're approaching the 3-minute mark and the strategies are starting to unfold. Yeah, Ketroc's engineering is looking mighty fine with a bunker and multiple factories in play. It's clearly preparing for a solid defense while gathering resources. The Terran player has also picked off a Zergling and a Queen, which may be a significant early game advantage. On the flip side, Eris is slowly amassing its forces with 2 Queens and a couple of Zerglings. The 3 hatcheries provide a stable economy, and the Roach Warren is now in full swing, setting the stage for some potent ground forces. Eris is definitely not out of the game as its economy is robust and it's ramping up production. However, Ketroc's defensive posture could be the key to weathering the storm of Zerg swarms that we expect to see soon. With both bots in their respective corners, the question is, will Ketroc be able to fend off Eris's upcoming aggression, or will the Zerg flood overwhelm its defenses? Stay tuned, because this match is just getting started. What an exhilarating turn of events as we reach the 4-minute mark. Yeah, Ketroc is making a strong move with 2 Hellions on the field and a Widow Mine burrowed for some sneaky plays. Those Hellions can be devastating against light units, and they've already taken out a couple of Zerglings. Talk about some early aggression. Meanwhile, Eris has been ramping up its drone count impressively, now boasting over 40 drones with 3 hatcheries and a Roach Warren in play. It's gearing up for a substantial Zerg army. However, it's worth noting that Eris lost a Hellion in the process. Every unit matters at this stage, and even the smallest loss can tip the scales. Ketroc's defensive structures are looking solid, but it will need to be wary of Eris's potential flood of roaches and Zerglings. The tension between these two is palpable as the bots seem ready to clash head-on. Will Ketroc's Hellions and Widowmine hold strong against the Zerg onslaught, or will Eris's macro prowess overwhelm the Terran defenses? This match is heating up, and I'm here for it. Let's see what happens next. We're hitting the 5-minute mark, and the tension is rising. Ketroc is rolling out a more formidable army with 4 Hellions, a Cyclone, and a Siege tank in play. Talk about firepower. The Widowmine is still lurking in ambush, ready to dish out some damage when the Zerg army comes knocking. Eris, on the other hand, is not backing down. With around 10 Zerglings and 4 Queens, it's building up a solid force while maintaining a hefty drone count. Its economy is thriving, but it's also lost a few Hellions thanks to Ketroc's early actions. The dynamic here is fascinating. Ketroc is working on a balanced approach with both defensive and offensive capabilities. Those tanks and Hellions could be a game changer if used effectively. Meanwhile, Eris is spreading its creep and continuing to build up pressure. Will Ketroc be able to leverage its mechanized forces to hold back the swarm, or will Eris's superior economy overwhelm the Terran defenses? The stage is set for an epic showdown. Let's see how these bots continue to adapt. What an incredible match to witness. What a showdown we have on our hands as we hit the 7-minute mark. Ketroc is ramping up its forces significantly with 6 Hellions, 2 Cyclones, and a pair of siege tanks in play. Let's not forget that Banshee flying in to provide some support. The Terran army is looking formidable with impressive unit diversity and firepower. Eris, however, is not to be underestimated. It has expanded its army to include 7 Queens, 16 Zerglings, and 6 Roaches. The Zergbot's economy is thriving with a solid drone count, making it ready to unleash an overwhelming force. It's also been clever with its creep spread, ensuring mobility for its units. The action thus far has seen some intense exchanges. Ketroc has taken out several Queens and Zerglings, while Eris has eliminated Hellions and even a siege tank. Each side is trading blows, but Eris appears to have the edge in army supply. The question now is whether Ketroc's defensive setup can hold against the impending Zerg push. Will those siege tanks be able to pack a punch and take down the Zerg forces before they become too overwhelming? Yet again, the stakes are high, and I can't wait to see how this unfolds. Let's keep the excitement going. Oh boy, things are heating up as we reach the 8-minute mark. Ketroc has really bolstered its army with a mix of units. 6 Hellions, 4 Cyclones, and 2 siege tanks are now joined by a Viking fighter and a Raven. This is a well-rounded lineup, ready to take on anything Eris throws at it. However, Eris is not holding back. With its army supply leading the charge, it's got 9 Queens, 17 Roaches, and a handful of Zerglings. That's a hefty force ready to swarm, and it seems to be capitalizing on its strong economy with a remarkable drone count. The battles have been fierce, with Ketroc picking off several Queens and Roaches while losing quite a bit of its own firepower, including Hellions and a siege tank. It's a back-and-forth slugfest. The presence of creeps and burrowed Zerglings gives Eris a tactical edge, as it can strike swiftly and retreat to safety. Will Ketroc's mechanized forces hold the line against this onslaught? Those siege tanks could be pivotal if positioned correctly. But with Eris ramping up its aggression, it's going to be a nail-biter to see how this unfolds. Buckle up, folks. This match is far from over. We're nearing the 9-minute mark, and the intensity has skyrocketed. Ketroc is holding its ground with an army that now includes 2 Viking fighters, 5 Cyclones, and 4 Ravens. Those Ravens are key for potential HSMs and auto turrets, providing a tactical advantage against Eris's packed army. Eris, on the other hand, has expanded its forces even further, now featuring 10 Queens, 22 Roaches, and a couple of Hydralisks. The Zerg is bringing some serious firepower and isn't shying away from aggression. The sheer number of Zerg units is impressive, and we can expect a substantial push soon. Both bots have been trading units heavily, with Ketroc knocking out several queens and roaches while Eris has taken down multiple cyclones and ravens. The battle has been brutal, and the unit trading could determine the outcome of this clash. The stakes are high, and Eris is leveraging its economy with drones now reaching 81. Meanwhile, Ketroc is amassing SCVs and preparing its defenses with missile turrets. Will Ketroc's siege tanks and air forces be sufficient to withstand the Zerg tide, or will Eris's relentless swarm overwhelm the Terran structures? This match is teetering on a knife's edge, and I can't wait to see what unfolds next. Let's keep the excitement going. We've hit the 10-minute mark, and what a spectacle it is. Ban Ketroc has fortified its position with 4 siege tanks, which can rain terror on Eris's ground forces. With a total of 9 ravens on the field, Ketroc is ready to unleash those auto turrets and utilize some serious high-value munitions. The presence of Banshee adds another layer of complexity to the Terran strategy. However, Eris is standing tall with a commanding army supply. The Zerg is bringing a bevy of Hydralisk roaches and an impressive 10 queens, coupled with 5 infestors to threaten any clusters of units from Ketroc. The sheer numbers are daunting, and you can't underestimate that kind of presence. The battle so far has been intense, with Ketroc taking out a large number of Eris's queens and Hydralisks, but at the cost of many of its own units, including ravens. Eris's creep spread is extensive, allowing it to maneuver quickly, and with 5 hatcheries, its economy is solid. As we look ahead, the stage is set for a Titanic clash. Will Ketroc's defensive setup and superior mechanization hold against the overwhelming might of Eris's Zerg forces? It's a classic Terran versus Zerg showdown, and I can't wait to see how this unfolds. The excitement is palpable. Let's keep it rolling. It's getting thrilling as we approach the 11-minute mark. Ketroc's army is shaping up nicely with 4 siege tanks and a whopping 15 ravens. Those ravens can create a defensive fortress with auto turrets, and it looks like they're primed for some serious action. Eris, however, is not to be outdone. With a robust army featuring 4 infestors, 9 queens, and a mix of roaches and hydralisks, it's ready to unleash some chaos. The Zerg forces are maintaining a substantial army supply advantage and have more drones to bolster their economy. We've seen some major unit exchanges. Ketroc has efficiently taken out numerous key units from Eris, including infestors and queens, while losing a significant number of its own ravens. The stakes are incredibly high right now. As the battlefield is set, we can expect Eris to leverage its numbers to push forward. Will Ketroc's defensive placements and tank firepower be enough to withstand the impending Zerg assault? This match is undoubtedly on a knife's edge, and I'm itching to see how these two titans will clash. What a phenomenal display of strategy and tactics. Stay tuned for the next thrilling moments. Approaching the 12-minute mark, the competition is heating up. And Ketroc is still in the game with 4 siege tanks and a formidable count of 14 ravens, giving it a strong defensive posture. The mix of cyclones and hellions provides some additional mobility and harassment potential. Eris, however, is flexing its muscles with an impressive army, fielding 10 hydralisks, alongside plenty of roaches and infestors. The Zerg is utilizing its numbers well, maintaining a notable advantage in army supply. The battles thus far have seen some heavy trading, with Ketroc managing to eliminate several key Zerg units, including infestors and queens. Still, it's evident that Eris has been capitalizing on its economy and creep spread to maneuver effectively. We see that Ketroc has set up multiple command centers and planetary fortresses to bolster its defenses while expanding its economy, but will it be enough to hold back the Zerg tide? As both bots prepare for the next engagement, it looks like Eris is ready to unleash its full might. The stage is set for a thrilling clash. Will Ketroc's carefully positioned siege tanks and ravens withstand the fervor of Eris? The anticipation is electric. Let's see what happens next. We've now hit the 15-minute mark, and oh boy, what a fierce battle it is. Ketroc's army supply has dwindled to 37, while Eris is still commanding a formidable 97.5 supply. The siege tanks and ravens are holding the fort for Ketroc, but the unit count is definitely feeling the pressure against Eris's overwhelming forces. Eris has not only built a solid array of brood lords and corruptors, but also has multiple infestors lurking about. Definitely a recipe for disaster for any ground units. Those broodlings will add even more chaos to the battlefield. allowing Eris to zone out Ketroc's key units. Interestingly, while Ketroc has managed to take out a good number of Zerg units, including roaches, the losses in the siege tank department are starting to tell. Losing 2 siege tanks to Eris is a significant blow to Ketroc's defensive capabilities. The creep spread is absolutely massive. With 92 burrowed creep tumors, Eris is asserting its dominance across the map, making it challenging for Ketroc to push out and reclaim position. Can Ketroc hold the line against this relentless onslaught? It will require some tactical brilliance to turn this around. The next few moments will be crucial to determine if Eris can finally break through or if Ketroc can mount a comeback. Stay tuned for this thrilling conclusion. For those of you that have, and I quote, stayed tuned in this match, you may have had an inkling that something is off on this particular day. I'll explain closer to the end of the video. A while back, I saw a certain project in the Starcraft 2 Artificial Intelligence Discord, and the idea for a joke cast had been in the back of my very human mind since then. Raiden had worked on a project making AI casting using a model of Artosis' voice as a proof of concept. AI voice rights are something that is very touchy, as it is someone's livelihood, so understandably the project was a bit discouraged. However, as a joke, it is totally alright. So a big shout out to Raiden for his work on setting up the AI model and applying it to his automatic casting software. I think it's pretty clear Eris has won this game at this point, but AI isn't the best at providing full context / inferring the results of a game. Although with more work, you could in theory create a perfect casting AI. It's now nearing 17 minutes, and the situation is looking increasingly dire for Ketroc. With only 32 army supply left, the defensive line is thinning, and Eris is charging ahead with 113 army supply. The Zerg army is a terrifying mix of broodlords, corruptors, and a strong number of infestors. Eris continues to dominate the map with over 105 burrowed creep tumors, making it almost impossible for Ketroc to regain any foothold. The Zerg's creep spread is allowing for seamless movement, and those broodlords are poised to rain destruction from afar. Ketroc is holding on to a couple of siege tanks and ravens, but with limited units left, it's going to be tough to fend off this offensive. Eris has managed to wipe out several ravens, severely reducing Ketroc's defensive capabilities. The economy for both players remains healthy, but Eris has a clear upper hand. If it continues to press the attack, Ketroc may find itself cornered with nowhere to go. Can Ketroc mount a last stand, or is this the beginning of the end? The action is heating up. Let's see how this epic clash concludes. Okay, so this is my real voice, or is it? Actually, this is my real voice. No, this is my real voice. I'm being totally serious right now. It's hard to tell, but there is little things that might give it away when it's fake or real. It really is impressive, but also scary how good AI is at mimicking voices. I'm glad I'm not a voice actor, as the threat to their livelihood is quite depressingly clear. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm totally being serious right now that this is my real voice. I hope you guys enjoyed the prank, and big thanks to Raiden for helping put this together. It was a very cool project to work with him, and he did most of the work. So yeah, just very cool to see what you can do with AI. I think if someone really was determined enough, they could create an AI caster that is pretty darn perfect. It's one of those things, it's just a matter of fine-tuning AI and throwing out the bad and keeping the good as you'd experiment more and more. So yeah, I just hope you guys enjoyed it. If you watched to the end of this point in the video, click that like button. If you haven't already, leave a comment down below saying more bots. And yeah, I hope it wasn't too big of a mind. You know the rest. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.